Hello, friends. Do you want to know one single reason why 80% of the profiles get rejected after interview? Well, watch till end of this video. I'm going to cover about 6 categories of questions that ISB interviewers ask. And before we get into these categories, ISB interview is profile driven, meaning what you have written in your essays in your profile becomes fuel for the interview. So it is a candidate led interview wherein what you answer will drive your next question. Let's see what ISB interview looks like. ISB interview is conducted by two alumni, one preferably from your past experience, and one probably an alumni who is a presentation of, say, your current experience. These two alumni are going to conduct your interview in a manner that is more informal sort of like setting, more like a conversation, but yet they cover nuances that will talk about your leadership, your post MBA goals, and various other aspects. Now, let me break down the interview that happens. Session one, or the first session of the interview, happens to be an icebreaker, wherein you will be asked about, tell me about yourself, walk me through your profile, or they introduce themselves, saying like, say, hey, I'm alumni A, I do this, that, and alumni B say do this, that. This part of this interview is only to make the candidates feel comfortable about the interview, and then the actual interview starts. After part one, the part two is more about your profile. When I say your profile based questions, they talk about your career choices, career transition. For example, I did my MBA. Before that, I worked with IOCL for 5 years, and prior to IOCL, I worked with TCS. Their questions were like, why did you have to move from private to public? What made you choose this decision? Oh, you have given gate examination, what is that examination about? And things like that, wherein they were questioning my choices, why or what made me prompted to move from one place to other. Like, even why did in first place get into TCS, and then why I made a move from TCS to from a private sector to a public sector. So these sort of questions are more profile based questions, where they question your career transitions. Number three, uh, this is one of the most critical and important reasons for you to get into MBA, your post MBA goals. And when I say post MBA goals, you need to have clarity on the short term goals and the long term goals. In this, the typical questions would be like, how do you look yourself in 3 years? You have done, say, XYZ in the current role. Would you go back to the role again? Or would you, say, do something now and then in 5 years down the line, you'd be doing something else? They want to know by asking these questions your clarity about your own profile. What is it that you want to do? And then they would ask questions on why ISB. Now, this is very important section wherein you need to have clarity about why you want to do MBA, and why now, and why ISB. So you need to do a lot of research in understanding the kind of course that ISB PGP is, and also whether, say, from your current role to your aspirational role, whether that shift can happen. Well, and then the fourth question would be about, say, tomorrow you become a leader. How would your past experience is paying way to for you to become a future leader? So the questions are more on the basis of the spikes that you have in your profile. When I say spikes, for example, in my application, I wrote about travel experience, I wrote about tree plantation drives that I did, I wrote about working with diverse folks coming from different engineering backgrounds. Then on these spikes, they ask questions like, so you did your tree plantation drive, did you were you able to institutionalize it, and were you able to scale it further? And, say, in case of diverse experience, they were asking, how did the diversity contribute to your learnings, and whether that has helped you become a better leader, or how do you think it has made you a better leader? Questions like this, based which are more of your profile based spikes, and also whether that has made you introspect and learn few things. Then there will be questions about your hobbies and passions. say why you have done certain things. In my case, I used to run a blog, like 56,000 gate aspirants were typical readers for my blog. And then they were asking questions around whether I was monetizing it, what was the purpose, why I have started. I mean, even hobbies, right? They look what kind of hobbies I pursue, why they pursue, and whether I have developed some skills that map to MBA. Not necessarily always it has to be the case, but in my case, that was one of the hobby that was drilled into. And they were trying to understand, like one of the online games that I used to play back then, and then wanted to understand whether I was learning something out of it, or it was just like just playing around with my time, things like that. And last section, um, again, the sixth section would be like, do you have any questions for us? All right. So these are the typical six sections: the icebreaker, the profile based question, post MBA goals, why ISB, leadership and team experience, your hobbies, aspirations, and finally the questions for us. And towards the end of this interview, they typically uh, expect you to ask a proper question, showcasing your enthusiasm. Now, coming back to what is that one particular reason why majority 80% of the profiles get rejected, is because people don't do enough research about ISB and post MBA goals. As a result, they falter on understanding what is it that they want. Meaning, you are spending 50 lakhs on a program and not knowing what is it that you want to do in future. They want people who have sparks. They want people who have clarity on what they want to do and why they want to do. Taking a person with very less experience and who doesn't have clarity is not a right fit for them. You need to be placeable, you need to have clear vision for yourself, and that's how you become a leader. That's what they are looking for. Well, if this video has helped you, do follow Career Simplified. And if you want help with your profile evaluation, or help with your essays, or help with in general, you want to understand what ISB or any MBA program in India is like and what you can get, do reach out to us at Career Simplified. Thanks, friends.